Hello and welcome to Ralph McWilliams Shearing Supplies, and this is Ralph McWilliams himself. He is one of the main distributors of sheep shearing gear and equipment, handpieces, anything related to sheep shearing in the US. And as you can see, he has a nice selection of combs and cutters, handpieces, machines, anything sheep shearing related he has for the seasoned shearers or just people who want to shear 1 or 2 head. Don't be afraid to give him a call, and he'll be more than happy to answer your questions and have a good talk with you about anything sheep shearing related. Hello and welcome to the famous Shamus experience on a little new segment called Meet the Shearer. I want to give you people kind of an idea of what the life of a sheep shearer can be like and how a person makes a living or makes a part-time living shearing sheep or shearing other animals. So this is the grateful, graceful Gina, how do you say last name?
Gouveia.
Gouveia, there we go. So I met Gina, Gina's claim here is the first girl to beat Shamus on the same, well, I was about to say trailer, but we're not on a trailer, same team, I suppose. So Gina beat me. She's really good. I am not. That doesn't hurt my pride in any way. She is a talented young lady.
Thanks, Shamus.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. I want to be rich like Shamus.
Yeah, but
I saw his videos and I was like, oh, holy cow! That guy is so cool.
Money.
He is so rich. Look at his ice house. He is rich.
No. Yeah, my ice.
I want to be just like him. I'm going to shear sheep and be as fast as him.
I mean, you're already there.
Yeah, but goals. I reached my goals.
Yeah, yep. And so Gina, when you're shearing sheep every single day, day in, day out, throw the sheep out,
Just like that.
Yeah, you pick them up, throw them out.
Yeah, you pick them all up.
What's a daily tally for you? And what's the best you've done in one day? How many sheep have you shorn?
The best.
In one day? Yeah.
222.
222.
That was on spring lambs. They were nice. They're like really good shearing sheep. It was actually Moser sheep.
Moser sheep. So
yeah, they're spring lambs, which we sheared the other day.
Yeah, we did. My back was seriously hurt from that.
It was the next day.
Yeah, I was walking around like, guys, those lambs hurt me.
I know, it blows my mind because it's the big sheep that just kill my back.
Yeah, well,
but me and the lambs were like proportional to each other.
Yeah, you can actually
so it makes
use
sense.
Regular.
I can use I can do the pattern like it's supposed to be done. Instead of like on ewes, I just do like a ram pattern. Like what Alex does for rams is what I do for ewes.
Yeah.
And then lambs is just good. So
what about like a typical day? Like how many, let's say you worked 4 hours. You were going to work 4 hours. No, take that back. Let's just say a full day.
A full day.
Yep. Of your typical sheep in the Midwest. What's your average per day? And like describe the typical sheep out here.
The typical sheep out here, they're generally very large. There's a lot of like black face, Suffolk Hamp crosses, like the speckled face too. So they're pretty like big and mean. Big and mean. Stiff.
Would you say about 200 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also, it's more like meat sheep out here. So then there's like polypay, which are also big and mean. Big and mean. And then there's fine moles that are like cold ewes from out west that come out here, and then they're fed corn, so then they get big and mean.
Those are my least
Yeah, they're so hard. So I feel like what I do in a day just depends on how big they are. I go slower, the bigger the sheep get, it's harder for me. Yep. I feel like everyone, really, most shearers, but I would say on average, I'm averaging between 16 to like 20 if they're nice an hour is like kind of what I go for. 16, so about like 130 to 150. If we did full days? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like There was still a day last year where we were talking about last night. I struggled to get 108 because they were just so wild.
Oh, yep. Some
wrapped topless. Yeah.
Yep. Bring them out from the mountains. Give them some corn, some steroids, and
yeah, give them 1 year out in the Midwest, and they just turn into a whole different sheep.
A whole different thing.
Yeah.
Monster.
So I feel like it really just does vary on the sheep.
And then, so how about your specialty lambs?
What about them?
If you had a full day on lambs, do you think you could do 200 every day?
Yeah.
And I've seen it.
Yeah. I think so.
She could do two. She could do well over
222 is in 7 and then 7 hours.
Yep.
And then a couple weeks later, I did 206 in 6 hours. So.
Yep, that's
like if we did a full 8 hours, which we hardly ever do out here.
Yeah. I mean, out here, what makes Alex Moser really popular is that he can get most jobs done in one day.
Yeah.
Because he brings the 18, which is Gina.
And Alex and Billy.
And Alex and Billy, but those guys are really just, the backup dancer to the main dancer.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. That'd be so nice.
Yep. And so, Gina, how did you get into sheep shearing?
I got into sheep shearing because I started shearing alpacas first. So I've been shearing alpacas, and I got into that because I was kind of in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. I was working at a alpaca fiber mill, helping them process fiber, because I spin, weave, do lots of fiber hobbies and stuff like that. So I was there helping them, saw their shear their 60 alpacas, and thought it looked cool.
60?
60 is what they had. So then I asked him how he learned, if he took a class or just learned from someone, and he kind of just let me jump in his truck.
Just like, hey, get in the truck.
Yeah, he was like, you can try it out. Maybe you'll shear a few. And then I did a couple, and he was like, you're pretty dang good at that already. Mm-hmm. So then I ended up sticking with him for it was about 2.5 months. Mm-hmm. And that turned into me starting my own alpaca business. Mm-hmm. With sheep, I started because I had I had clients who had like 2 sheep.
Yep.
And would ask me to shear it. And I would say no.
Because you just didn't know.
Yeah, because it's just totally different. I didn't know the pattern. I don't want to butcher it or, butcher the animals, really. Yeah. So I then went to the Washington State shearing school for sheep.
Mm-hmm. And how many years did you shear alpacas before?
About 5.
5? So
I just did alpacas for 5 years, and then got into sheep, thinking I would just shear the occasional sheep here and there.
Here and there. And then here you are in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. We are currently in the Midwest, shearing sheep every day.
Every day, except for Sunday.
Except for Sunday. And for a gentleman named Alex Moser here.
And Catherine Moser.
And Catherine Moser, excuse me.
The Mosers, the Moser family.
The Mosers, yep. So, has shearing animals been your full-time job since then?
Yeah, well, when I was just doing alpacas, I would do other seasonal farm work. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm doing sheep also, and I do more sheep now than alpacas, I'm shearing for about 8 or 9 months out of the year.
So 8 or 9 months of the year. Mm-hmm. And then what do you do with the other 3 to 4?
The other 3 to 4 I take very seriously, and I don't shear a single animal. I turn down jobs in the summer, and I spend the summer training in the gym to be fit to shear.
Yeah.
Commercial sheep and big corn-fed, Midwest sheep. Yeah.
No. So that brings up another, question or problem that shearers run into is how physically demanding is sheep shearing?
Insanely.
Insanely?
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, I think so too.
I spent all summer training in the gym 5 days a week.
Just so that you
doing
can be
physical therapy, trying to take care of any injuries that I may have acquired during the season so that I can get ready for the next season. Mm-hmm. And even during the season, I still continue physical therapy, stretching, staying hydrated, all that stuff to be able to do it.
So one thing that you viewers may not notice is that Gina, she is not very tall. She's actually 5'1", am I correct? Mm-hmm. So it's even more impressive to see her shear some big sheep here in the Midwest, corn-fed, steroid.
They're like, yeah, they're on steroids.
On steroids. And so when Gina says that she takes her time off seriously and trains, it's because she has to. And that's just who she is. And gets after
Stubborn.
it. Stubborn. But who's more stubborn, the sheep or you?
I guess me, because I end up shearing them
Because you're still shearing them?
Sometimes them. But I usually win at the end of the day.
So, so before you discovered sheep shearing, what sort of work did you do? Or what were you doing before that?
Before that, I was traveling a lot.
Traveling a lot?
I was just kind of traveling around doing seasonal work. But really, I just kind of wanted to take a break from working, because before that, I was doing like 50 hours a week as a pastry chef.
Pastry chef.
Yeah. So then I kind of got burnt out working in restaurants and stuff, and started traveling, and then was trying to find a trade, more essentially, and then just kind of ran into the shearing world.
Ran into the shearing world. A trade in the shearing world that you have to travel to.
Yeah.
So speaking of like traveling and working, you know, what kind of lifestyle do you have to live in order to do this job?
I think you got to be pretty okay with getting up and going and just being on the road a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of traveling.
It's a lot of
You're
traveling.
just always on the road pretty much. Out here, it's nice in the Midwest because we get to come back to the Moser house almost every night, but it's still, I mean, you're putting in like 4 hours of driving a day, and you're pretty much just always on the go, whether you're living out of your truck, hotel rooms, a trailer, you know, whatever setup you have.
So before you started shearing, you were already kind of living that sort of lifestyle?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So sheep shearing was just kind of a natural fit for the way you want to live.
It made sense because then I could get paid to travel instead of paying to travel, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So has shearing animals, shearing sheep brought you to many parts, different parts, unique parts of the U.S. that you never thought you'd be able to work?
Yeah. Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa.
Yeah, I never really even thought about Iowa before. But I went to the North Dakota school, and that's kind of how, you know, I ended up in the Midwest a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, the Midwest was never on my radar. I'd never really been through a lot of these states.
There's a lot of cool cornfields in Iowa.
There's a lot of cornfields. I saw a bald eagle in a cornfield today.
Ooh, really?
Just down the road.
Exciting. And so with this sort of lifestyle that you're living, shearing sheep and traveling, you know, what are some pros and cons about it? Like, what are some things you like about it, some things you don't like about it? And, you know, what are like your plans like in the future with your sheep shearing career?
I would say pros is you see a lot of the country.
Yeah.
You know, even with alpaca shearing, I see a lot of Washington, Oregon, like all the West Coast. You just see a lot of cool country. You get to see a different farm mostly every day. It's cool to see different people's setups, how they do or don't take care of their animals. And I've learned a lot. So eventually when I have my own animals, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what works and what doesn't. Pros, you meet a lot of cool people in the industry.
Yep.
Other shearers.
Oh, yep.
Other contractors. You know, I've met a lot of folks. You also meet a lot of dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
A lot of border collies, a lot of guard dogs.
That one.
Yeah. That's probably the best thing about it, actually.
Border collies and
Yeah, all the dogs and the puppies.
puppies.
Oh, puppies.
If you guys don't know, I have a puppy playlist. Check it out.
What does that mean? Oh, on your channel.
Yeah.
So it's all puppies.
Yep.
Okay.
A playlist of videos of just puppies I meet.
Yeah, those I would say are the biggest pros.
So what about the things that you kind of wake up and you're like, oh man?
Being away from home.
Oh, you do have a home now?
Yeah, I bought a house. It's kind of like a glorified storage unit because I'm never there.
Yep.
I've been there for 1 month. So just being away from home, the long days is pretty hard.
Yep.
Even days where you're driving for, you know, more than you're actually shearing. The drive time is just tiring too.
Yep, and that's why I, whenever I ride with, I just ride in the back and close
Snore.
my eyes.
And you snore.
Okay, nobody really knows.
No, you snore a lot.
I always, only because my head's cocked backwards like that.
What are some other cons?
The physical demand on the body.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like so demanding physically, and then you don't get that much recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll try to get 8 hours of sleep at night and take all sorts of supplements and stuff to try and help my body recover. But you know, if you're working 6-7 days a week, no matter how much you sleep, you're going to be pretty tired.
Really tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this past week, not this past week, but the week before.
The week before, that was a big week.
Yeah. I think I averaged like 5.5 hours of sleep.
That's it.
Well, you know, I gotta.
But then you sleep in the truck, so did you take into account that?
No, I did not. You know, that's not really deep REM sleep. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in the truck.
No, it does not. And any other things that you might want some other like beginner or people who are thinking about shearing to know about before they decide to go all in, live a nomadic lifestyle?
I mean, it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's really fun. You'll see a lot of cool things that you wouldn't see probably through any other job.
No, definitely not.
But it definitely is. Yeah, you're just there. You got to be pretty committed and pretty stubborn, I think. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, so
it's worth it.
It is. I
think so.
Yeah, I think it's worth it too. There are other shearers that I've met throughout my career, which is a few years now, only a few years, who did shear a lot when they were younger, but now that they got older, they put the shears down to start a family or something like that. And what does the future of your career look like?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. Yeah. Because I'm going to probably shear as long as my body will let me. Mm-hmm. But...
So how about just full-time shearing?
Full-time?
The 8 or 9 months out of the year.
I think next year I'll probably try to cut back a couple months so I can be home more.
Be home more, maybe.
Be home more. There's also other things I'd like to do, you know. Yeah. I mean, shearing is kind of like all-encompassing. It's like you live and eat and breathe shearing during the season. And if your season's 9 months, you know, it's just not that much time off, I guess, to focus on other things. And now that I own a house, you know, it'd be nice to
be there.
Be there more and maybe just work closer to home instead of traveling so far.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe just shear only 6 months next year. And then my brother kind of took over half of my alpaca run, so now I'm really only shearing alpacas for 1 month. June is when I go shear alpacas. Get the big paycheck.
The big paychecks. Alpacas, nobody wants to shear them. And you find a person that does, there's not much for negotiation.
No, it pays the bills. I bought my house.
Yep. Alpaca money.
But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like in some way or the other, you know, if I cut back to only 6 months, you know, maybe I'll go find a ranching job somewhere in New Mexico or Colorado, or do something on the other side of working with sheep or livestock.
Use your background and expertise in animal and shearing to do other jobs.
Yeah, that's another pro.
Or to help.
You get to work with livestock every day.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of a con too, because sometimes they're really mean.
Yeah, they like to pee and poop on you too.
Yeah, alpacas too, they spit on you.
Oh, spit, oh, yeah. Well, Gina, thank you for taking the time to sit down and share a few words with me.
Kitchen.
Our wonderful carriage house kitchen. This is the house where shearers come and go.
It's the shearers bunkhouse.
The shearers bunkhouse.
That's why there's mass gainer and whey protein.
Oh yeah, hold on. The key to your
my daily success.
Your daily success is
Super Muscle Power Pump.
Super Muscle Power Pump
Supplement
and mass gainer there in the background if you can't see it.
And whey protein.
And whey protein.
Gains and bulk supplements, if they want to sponsor me, they can. So tag that.
Super muscle mass gainer. Just get huge and swole and pumped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like the sheep.
Yep. You know, we can't just eat straight corn because we're humans.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes I'd like to try.
Corn and rice.
And rice too. But anyways, well, thank you, Gina.
Yep. Thanks, Shamus.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please like it. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, because this is just the first one of more shearers to come.